you may have seen my 1-minute book review for Providence Rider, the fourth Matthew Corbett title from Robert McCammon. But a minute's just not, enough. And I might have a couple more things to say about it. I'll take my time. I won't talk so fast. Maybe you have a drink. You have a drink? Get a drink. Just pause this, go get a drink. Are you back with your drink? Cool. All right, sit down. If you want, or stand up, or jog. Maybe you're on a treadmill. These are all options available to you as a viewer on my channel. So the fourth volume, right? I love Speaks a Nightbird. I thought Queen of Bedlam was 5 stars easily. Mr. Slaughter was really great and groovy. Providence Rider, okay, it's a dip. It's fine. It's fine. I'm still loving the series. I still look forward to River of Souls, Freedom of the Mask, Cardinal Black, King of Shadows, and 7 Shades of Evil, and Leviathan. I'm still looking forward to every minute awaiting me. And I give this 4 stars. Let's just get that out of the way. But there are some problems. There's a huge continuity error in this book that doesn't align with where Mr. Slaughter leaves off. And Mr. Slaughter, let me just say, this is spoiler-free book review. But why would you be, watching this if you didn't already read those other books, or at least have a knowledge of the stories? Because this is the 4th title. Anyway, there's a continuity error with a letter. There's a letter at the end of, and I'm not going to, again, no spoilers, but there is a letter that appears at the end of Mr. Slaughter that plays a pivotal role in the beginning of Providence Rider, or at least in chapter 6 anyway. And in Mr. Slaughter, the letter is in Matthew's possession. And then in chapter 6 of the Providence Rider, he doesn't have the letter, and there's another explanation for where the letter is. But there was no scene that fulfilled that change in possession. It's just like, ignore what was said in Mr. Slaughter. It is now, this is the case now, and we're just going to go with that, which is fine. It kind of sucks that it was a hang up for me, because I'm like, wait a second, I actually went back to Mr. Slaughter because I read them back to back. So you're going to have all that fresh in your mind. So I went back, I'm like, oh, wait, no. So when did this letter change possession? And then it takes you out of the story, and so whatever. I think in future printings of Mr. Slaughter, they could just take the publisher, the whoever, editors, could just take that little paragraph out, because it really didn't even add anything. It was a note about that letter, and it said a couple of things about who gave the letter to whatever. There was some subtext there, but not enough to justify. It didn't really add much to the story. So you could take that out. You wouldn't hurt Mr. Slaughter. You wouldn't hurt Mr. Slaughter. And it's not pronounced Mr. Slafter. I thought it was Mr. Slafter, but it's Mr. Slaughter. Slaughter is different than Slafter. Anyway, once that continuity error was dealt with, and by dealt with, I mean I just ignored it and went around it. The rest of the book got into that true Matthew Corbett, problem solving, historical fiction sort of fun, and it is fun. It's an escape. But after the darkness and depth of Mr. Slaughter, this felt a little too whimsical. And then I started thinking, am I misreading the series? Is the series supposed to be more fun than thriller and dark thriller? Like, is it supposed to be just sort of tales of ribaldry, like Victorian era, whatever? Like, I don't know. Is it supposed to be like that? It's supposed to be cheeky and fun? Because there are definitely scenes in this book where a character is in absolute grave danger, and then in the subsequent scenes thinks nothing of it and everything's just fine. So if the character is not concerned for their safety, then the reader's not concerned. And there really didn't feel like there was a hook. I didn't feel the tension I felt in Mr. Slaughter in Providence Rider. I didn't. Maybe it was Robert McCammon's way of giving readers a break from the heavy duty grief and loss of Mr. Slaughter and the really horrible things that happen. And well, we're gonna be on an island in the sun in this one, and it's gonna be all gravy. So don't worry about it. We're gonna take a little breather. In the reviews I've seen for Providence Rider, they said this is probably the weakest book in the series, and it definitely picks back up and it gets right back to full speed. The future titles, so I'm very much looking forward to it.
Again, I'm giving it 4 stars. So it's not like this is a disaster of a book. It's just you have to compare a book in a series to other books in the series to see does it rise to the standards that the series has set for me. And, in a lot of ways it does. But in one very prominent way, it actually exposes a weakness in the series for me thus far. And that is Matthew Corbett needs someone to save him every single time he gets in a scrape. He's not someone who gets himself out of trouble on the regular. He really doesn't. At the last minute, somebody comes in, somebody swoops in and pulls him out of harm's way or does something that saves Matthew Corbett's life. In this book, I don't know how many instances it was. My brain goes to 3, maybe 4, maybe 5, that Matthew owes his life to someone. And that doesn't bode well for a hero, an action hero, a hero in a detective thriller. You want someone who's capable, who can do the thing that needs to be done. So if Matthew's not the one, then give me that person who's going to save the day. Because it seems like, in a lot of cases, Matthew is the center of a shitstorm. And it's just stuff swirling around him that's happening. And he's sort of a voyeur or an observer. So that to me, I hope changes as we go on. I do like Matthew Corbett as a character, and I do love the series, so there's that. I just wish he was more self-reliant. And there's a lot of stuff in the book that happens to Matthew Corbett and not stuff he's making happen. The stuff that happens is cool and fun, and there are some real dark moments in Providence Rider, but this one is, again, just a little bit of a dip. Very much looking forward to River of Souls next. Now I'm going to read other books in between this, so I'm not going to jump right into another Matthew Corbett as much as I would like to. My goal is to have all volumes read by the time Leviathan comes out, which I think it's supposed to be this year. So, got to get it done. But that's it for now. I strongly recommend checking out the Matthew Corbett series. This is a pivotal story to the arc of the adventure of the saga, because here you get to actually meet Professor Fell. You get insight into his rage, his reason for being who he is, and his immense power. So you get some insight to that. You get to meet some of the cast of characters who make Professor Fell such a formidable opponent. So I think it's a very necessary book in the arc of the story overall, the saga. So you can't skip it, and you shouldn't. It is still fun, but I am hoping that some of these little rough spots get smoothed out going forward. And I'm eager to be there for them all. Yeah, it's going to be a riot. So thank you for joining me this time. Hope to see you again next time. In the meantime, stay frosty.